All right. Welcome back, everyone, to our daily live for reclaiming being the authority of your reality, using our imagination and our senses to generate instead of passively observe, and to really actually know what it's like to be the sole operant power of your reality, ending reacting, ending delay, ending all of the seeming obstacles that came from the conditioning we grew up with. We've been unveiling it, revising it, and really mastering the senses to decree it, bring it into being right now with certainty, because we know the law speaks with certainty. There's no hoping, there's no what ifs, there's no maybe one day. I mean, there is that, but that will always certainly mean nothing. So before we go deeper into the workshop tonight, again, if you're new, make sure to follow past videos so you can catch up. As I shared yesterday, that we are finishing up this week with the live streams. I'm going to be finishing up this workshop and moving on to, for those that feel ready, that feel like they're ready to keep going with this and master this. I have the understanding and the feeling, right? This is not mainstream, right? Nothing I do is, and I can understand that this, right, takes a certain persistence and a certain type of just obviously commitment, a full send to really get to operant power level of authority in your life. But that's what I'm all about. So I'm just reflecting the right people are going to show up. What I want to do to start this one before we go back into the workshop is I'm going to do a little test, if you will, to kind of see where everyone's at, where myself is at. This is a test you can do anytime. You can just refer back to this to kind of figure out, okay, am I actually being the operant authority? Am I being the supreme ruler of my reality or not? And these questions here will help you answer that. And then, like I mentioned yesterday, in the course, this is definitely leading into the different points that we will be focusing on. Like I said, it will be a live group type course, but then there will also be videos and recordings of myself bringing this into your reality so we can all transform and reclaim together. So let's start with the questions, and then we will circle back to our workshop. All right, so where are the questions that I put together here? And these are just a good check in general. You know, if you're, first of all, if you're already wondering why is it not working, all right, well, you definitely know you're not in the authority, but that's okay. There's no shame in this. But I always find it's helpful to kind of have something like this to kind of be like, what's the one that I'm forgetting in this moment? So I can remember it with more certainty. All right. So obviously answer to yourself with honesty. You know, you can't lie to yourself. You can. I've had clients that do it. I've done it to myself. But the more honest we are with ourselves, remember, this isn't about doing it wrong or not. We are all remembering that we are the supreme authority. So this is never about who's doing better than others, right? Like who's top class. We're not doing that anymore. As we did in past videos, we've gotten past that. This is just a way that we can gently remind ourselves, okay, I forgot this one. Let's get back into it. And obviously having the resources here within yourself to get to a place of certainty, and it really won't be an issue. So know that as we do this, you're not failing ever. You're just going to reclaim it. So big breath in and out, releasing whatever feels stagnant, releasing any judgment. A few more big breaths in and out, get into that 0 point. All right, answer each question honestly. All right, number 1, do you still find yourself waiting for proof before believing something is real? Okay, feel free to answer in the comments. Number 2, when you manifest, do you check the 3D world to see if it worked instead of knowing it is done? So like checking your text or checking a bank account or waiting for a reaction from someone. That's one of my big ones. So do some type of communication to get the reaction. All right. Number 3, do outside circumstances dictate how you feel rather than you commanding your emotions and reactions? an example would be like feeling stressed out about a bill instead of the relief, the knowing, the certainty it's already paid. Okay, number 4, do you struggle with doubt, second guessing, or feeling like you're doing it wrong when it comes to manifestation? Some examples would be like, yeah, I should move on to another technique, or I need a sign. Maybe I'm not in the right state. Even going into videos like this, instead of from a place of just like empowerment and we're just doing this together, this is what's going to fix it because you're doing it wrong. Is that something that's still occurring, right? Number 5, are you still trying, quotations trying, to shift your reality instead of declaring it as already done? So example, I'm working on manifesting this instead of it's already mine. Or I find with this one too, it's like a timing thing of like, oh, I hope they don't ask me about this, or it won't be ready by then, because it's trying, it's a progress thing. All right, number 6, do you experience moments of extreme faith, but then fall back into uncertainty or fear? So example, I feel powerful, but then doubt starts to sneak in and I start worrying again. And it's almost like the other state didn't even really happen. Number 7, when you imagine your desires, do you feel a gap between where you are and where you want to be? Feel a gap. So example, I want to be in a happy relationship, but I feel very far from it, or it feels like a future thing. Okay, number 8, are you still emotionally reacting to things instead of seeing everything as an illusion you control? So example, getting upset when people act out instead of knowing they are just reflections of old assumptions. Another one I would say too is getting upset if you actually see someone that has what you desire and you're like, oh, that means I can't have it. Right? Some type of emotional reaction to things out there instead of it's all an illusion you control. Number 9, do you feel like things are taking too long to manifest? Example, why isn't it here yet? What am I doing wrong? Still seeing things as undone. And lastly, number 10, do you still believe there are blocks stopping your manifestations from happening? So example, I think I have a subconscious belief blocking me instead of assuming there are no blocks. So whether to yourself or in the comments, where are you at? 1 through 10, how many are a yes? How many are a no? I'm good. Okay. What I would say, right, especially for this next course, if it's something that you feel like you're up to, you're ready for this, we're going to really take full control of the senses, and we're going to obliterate the waiting, the uncertainty, external deception. I mean, all those 10 points will be covered deeply. We're going to be rewiring the mind to operate from absolute authority, because all those 10 blocks are conditioned assumptions, right, that we can rewire and operate and generate with the senses where it's just not a thing anymore. That's the instant manifestation. That's the operant power that you actually are here to be, right? So we're going to remove the last traces of waiting, hoping, and reacting so that you only operate in general from full command. That's the goal of this course. That's what we are doing. It's already done. We're just going to completely know what it is to be an absolute authority. So those 10 ideas don't even make sense anymore. Now, no matter what, if you know that's for you, awesome. We're going to start that soon. Be sure to sign up in the email so you can get updates. It's going to be happening soon. It's already reflecting out in my world, and then I'll be sharing that and I'll start the live soon. But no matter what, right? It's like with those 10 blocks, that gives you a lot of good information of like, okay, yeah, here are the essentially lies, right? The illusions that still have me in a place of submitting to my outer world versus being in full command mode, right? There's still some rewiring that needs to be done to really come into the version of me that, yeah, has full command, right? Because then if you look at the 10 of those in the opposite form and imagine that version of you, that's what we're here to do. That's what we're all here to do. Where, yeah, the desire comes and there it is. None of the lag, none of the questioning, none of the reacting and all that. And, the heaviness of like waiting and delay and how we can get hard on ourselves and things like that, right? To me, it's like the biggest difference that I'm finding is truly getting such a mastery instead of like observing this reality, truly projecting it in each and every moment until it's just as natural as observing it was. It's like I think about when I was learning to walk, we don't remember that time, right? Our subconscious and conscious mind, we did that. We didn't have a fully developed conscious mind, so we don't remember it. But it's wild we did that. And to me, it's like the same process of like, okay, the true operant authority that I am, my senses are always generating. They're never observing. So if they're always generating, none of those 10 blocks are ever going to make sense to me anymore. And so it's just a matter of getting in that continual pattern, unveiling the places where like there's almost complete amnesia and I completely forget, or it feels so heavy I get stuck in a state, just rewiring them, naming them, reclaiming them, transmuting them, swallowing them like we will together. And then, generating from all my senses will be completely normal. And then at that point, that's instant manifestation. That's done. That is what we are here to do, to generate, project the hologram, if you will, right? So that's what the course will be. So if you still feel that you're letting your senses be dictated by your 3D world, check out the email, make sure you sign up. I'm so excited to deep dive with the ones that are like in it with me. And just to become the version of ourselves. We're like, we're always commanding, we're always generating. We're past the learning process. It's just natural now. So much smoother, so much easier, so much more power. And now it all really makes sense. All this law of assumption, ideation, I'm truly embodying it. That's what I'm about. I'm excited to share that. So let's now go back to our workshop where we were talking more about handling the fear of self-absorption and hurting others. And kind of this fear is like, if I really am God of my reality and I really allow myself to embody that and essentially, be that self-absorbed and be that much in my wish fulfilled and see reality truly as an illusion I control, there's some fear that will be generated with that we've been conditioned to just be afraid of. Remember the fear, it's always something, it's an emotional indicator. We're going to transmute it. It's never the truth. Underneath the fear is always the truth. Fear always holds a little bit of truth, right? But we have to unveil it to see what it really means, and we need to embody it. So let's continue on, and then we will embody a little bit before we end our session tonight.
There's another client, a well-known artist, speaks up, her voice laced with worry. But what if my self-absorption hurts the ones I love? She asks, what if I become so focused on my own reality that I punish the wrong people, that I hurt those who are close to me? How do I make sure I'm not damaging my relationships? You turn to her, your eyes burning with the intensity of your conviction. In your conversation, LLC 2025, 70, self-absorption is not a bad thing, you say. Your voice is slow, seductive drawl. It's necessary. You need to be absorbed in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. That's the key to manifesting. Neville said it himself, feeling is the secret. The only reason people fear self-absorption is because they've been taught that it's selfish, that it's wrong. But here's the truth, you cannot give what you do not have. If you're not absorbed in your own state of fulfillment, you have nothing to offer others. But when you are fully immersed in the feeling of being the powerful, loving creator of your reality, that's when you can truly give love, truly create relationships that are based on mutual respect, mutual power, listening, absorbing every word. But you can see the doubt still flickering in. And as for hurting others, you continue, your voice a low, commanding growl. You don't need to worry about that, because when you're operating from a place of true power, from the understanding that you are the only cause in your reality, you're not reacting out of fear, out of ego. You're creating from a place of love, of knowing, and that creation is always for the highest good. You don't punish. Punishment is a tactic of the powerless. You simply assume the state you desire and let the world conform to that. If someone in your reality is acting out, you don't react. You revise. You see them as the best version of themselves, and you watch as they rise to meet that assumption, because they have no choice. They're just a reflection of your state of consciousness, addressing the fear of being wrong and damaging relationships.
We'll do that one tomorrow. So here's what we're going to embody right now. Because again, law of assumption, all this, like it all is, yeah, it's great, sounds good. Unless you embody it and generate with the senses in the moment, again, we're just passively observing, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to generate, okay? So big breath in and out. And we are going to go ahead and, yes, bring up a time where you felt maybe there was some type of disruption. Maybe you were called out for being selfish, or as you kind of got more into your wish fulfilled, you almost felt people like vying for your attention, or this play out of guilt. I know that's what I'll get, is I'll go really far in and I'll always get reflections of guilt, my own guilt from being told when I was little, the world doesn't revolve around you. It does. It does when you have an awakened imagination, to be clear, right? So I want you to allow that memory to come up, whether it's recent or it could be the inner child, that's fine. But if it's the inner child, bring the inner child on the lap and recall a time where, you were truly in your wish fulfilled. You were really getting into that place of self-absorption, maybe self-love, self-empowerment. You're doing your thing. And some seeming incoming outer world circumstance shows up. And maybe some things were said or done that sucked you right back out. And I want you just to notice what occurred. Maybe you recall how you felt. I also want you to notice if you can remember the meaning you made from it, right? Of like, oh, it's not working, or, oh, I shouldn't do that, or nobody wants me to do this. Something's going wrong. Probably one of the 10 blocks, right? Just notice, keep breathing. And we're going to go ahead and generate with the senses. So with your little one, instead of even questioning what's happening, you just see it as an illusion that you can project your wish fulfilled onto. And it's nothing more than a moment for you to reclaim. That's it. That's all it is. Whatever was being said, it's not true. It was just a reflection of old patterning guilt of it's bad to be selfish, whatever it was. And so with your eyes, what would you have seen differently? Generate it right now. What would actually amplify that wish fulfilled, that self-absorption? What would you have seen? What would you be hearing? Replacing what you did hear, generate someone amplifying how amazing you are. Why they are also obsessed with you. They are also all about you. They're amplifying how good you're feeling, how much you love yourself. They're amplifying that, right? What would you touch, right? And maybe, again, maybe you remember the distance or the stagnation. Replace it now with an embrace, like the face holding or something, just a touch that really speaks to the wish fulfilled, self-absorption in the most loving, empowering way. What would you smell, right? Instead of the smell of like stagnancy or coldness, or maybe even disgust or guilt or sweat, stress, things like that. There's the smell of movement, of energy circulating, of your whole wish fulfilled being supported by your entire world. What would you taste, right? It could be some delicious food or a drink together, something nourishing instead of something stale or something that's more like stress related, of like just eating to please others again and doing it out of service or survival versus enjoying your meals with a loved one, absorbing your meals instead of just like having to rush, things like that. And this is where, again, you just play it all again, you generate, and you really feel it all come together. That when I am fully self-absorbed in my wish fulfilled, and then others now amplify it. This is what I see, this is what I hear, this is what I taste, this is what I touch, this is what I smell. This is the overall state. This is the momentum of it. And then like the response in your head of like, oh, it's working, see? My self-absorption, my wish fulfillment is bringing out the best in me and everyone. Replacing the old of people don't like it. People fight me for it. It's not working. We replace that. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we will continue on just a few more nights, the rest of this workshop. And again, sign up for the course. Again, if that is resonating, if you're like, yeah, let's really master these senses, I'm ready. Okay. See you all tomorrow.